There's a kind of person you've probably met, maybe you've been that person, who seems almost impossible to shake. They don't crumble under pressure the way others do. They don't need constant validation. They don't panic when life goes sideways. And when you look into their eyes, there's something there, a depth, a quiet knowing that most people simply don't have. You might wonder what their secret is. The truth? They don't have a secret. They have scars. And psychology has a lot to say about what those scars actually do to a person, because here's what nobody tells you about pain: real, prolonged, grinding pain. It doesn't just hurt you, it changes you. At a neurological level, at a behavioral level, at the very core of how you see yourself and the world around you. And some of those changes? They are profound gifts, even if they arrived wrapped in some of the worst moments of your life. Today, we are going to talk about 6 specific traits that show up in people who have genuinely been through too much. Not the performative suffering you see on social media. I mean people who have carried things most people will never understand. If you recognize yourself in any of these, I want you to know something before we even begin. You are not broken. You are built differently, and that difference matters more than you know. People who have been through too much develop an almost eerie ability to read rooms, read people, and read situations before most others even register that something is off. Psychologists call this hypervigilance, a state that originally develops as a survival mechanism. When your environment was unpredictable, when people in your life were inconsistent or dangerous, your brain learned to scan constantly. It learned to pick up on micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone, the tension in someone's jaw before they even open their mouth. What begins as a trauma response slowly evolves into something remarkable, a near superhuman level of emotional intelligence. These individuals notice the colleague who smiles but has hollow eyes. They sense the shift in energy when they walk into a room. They know, often without being told, when someone is lying, when someone is hurting, or when something is about to go wrong. It is not magic. It is a nervous system that was trained by fire. The second trait is a tolerance for discomfort that most people genuinely cannot comprehend. When you have survived things that should have destroyed you, ordinary discomfort stops being threatening. Difficult conversations that paralyze others, these people walk straight into them. Uncertainty that sends most people into a spiral, they sit with it almost patiently. This is what psychologists call distress tolerance, and it is one of the most powerful psychological skills a human being can possess. It does not mean they do not feel pain. They feel everything, but they have a lived, bone-deep understanding that pain does not kill you, that the feeling will pass, that they have made it through worse, and they will make it through this. That quiet confidence in their own survival is not arrogance, it is evidence. Third, and this one surprises people, they tend to have a fiercely authentic value system. When you have been broken down, when you have lost things, when you have been forced to confront what actually matters, you stop caring about what should matter according to everyone else. The status symbols, the social performances, the exhausting game of presenting a curated version of yourself to the world. People who have been through too much have usually had a moment, sometimes many moments, where all of that stripped away, and they came face to face with the raw truth of who they are. That experience creates an unusually strong internal compass. They know what they stand for. They know what they will not tolerate. They know what they actually want from this life, independent of what they were told to want. It makes them magnetic because authenticity is rare, and humans are wired to recognize it. The fourth trait is this: they love differently, more carefully in some ways, more deeply in others. People who have experienced profound loss, betrayal, or emotional pain understand the true weight of connection. They do not love carelessly because they have paid the price for loving the wrong people or for trusting too quickly. But when they do open up, when they do decide that someone is worth the risk. They love with a completeness that is almost overwhelming. They show up. They remember things. They sit with you in your darkness without trying to fix it, because they know what it felt like when nobody sat with them. Psychologically, this connects to what researchers call post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where people who have endured suffering often emerge with a deeper capacity for empathy, connection, and gratitude than they had before. Their pain did not make them cold. It made them real. Fifth, they have an unusual relationship with time and urgency. People who have faced mortality, who have lost someone suddenly, who have had their world collapse without warning, they carry a different understanding of impermanence than those who have not. This shows up in two powerful ways. One, they tend to waste far less time on things that do not matter. Grudges, petty conflicts, superficial relationships. These feel genuinely pointless to them because they have seen how fast everything can change. And two, they have a deeper appreciation for ordinary moments. A quiet morning, a good conversation. The specific way sunlight comes through a window in the afternoon. These small things hit differently when you have been through periods where you would have given anything just to have a normal day. That is not toxic positivity. That is a recalibrated nervous system finding beauty in what it once took for granted. And the sixth trait, the one that perhaps matters most, is that they have developed a very specific kind of resilience that is different from toughness. Toughness is rigid. Toughness is bracing yourself and refusing to bend. What these people have built is something more like the resilience of a tree in wind. They bend, they grieve, they feel the full force of what hits them, and then they come back. They do not pretend things are fine when they are not. They do not suppress or perform strength, but they also do not stay down. Psychologists distinguish this as flexible resilience, the capacity to move through adversity rather than around it, and to integrate the experience rather than be defined by it. It is the difference between a person who has survived and a person who has grown. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. If you see yourself in these traits, if you recognized your own reflection somewhere in these words, I want you to reframe something for yourself. The things that happened to you were not fair. They were not okay. You did not deserve them. And also, look at what you became because of them. Look at how clearly you see the world. Look at how deeply you love. Look at how steadily you stand when everything around you is uncertain. That is not nothing. That is extraordinary. The heaviest experiences in life have a way of producing the most extraordinary people. And if you are still carrying yours, still in the middle of it, still wondering if you will come out the other side, the answer, based on everything psychology and the human story has taught us, is yes. You will. And you will be someone worth meeting when you do.